Hello, welcome back to this Uncanny Earth. And these little videos like this, I'm calling them the Uncanny Think Tank series. But these are basically just little videos to get us some videos up in the videos tab rather than just having everything in the lives tab. So, first off, let's go ahead and say Happy 4th of July to everybody. I'm recording this on the 4th of July, so Happy 4th of July or whenever you're watching this, happy holidays, whatever. So let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and get into it. Today, we're going to be talking about the infamous Project Bluebeam conspiracy. It's one of my favorites. Now, this theory claims NASA and global elites, such as the UN, planned to stage a false alien invasion and digital second coming of Christ using advanced holographic technology, mind control frequencies, and satellite based psychotronics. But is it just Cold War paranoia turned TikTok bait? Or is it a slow drip blueprint for a simulated apocalypse? I mean, look at how our technology is advancing. And I personally believe that as of today, as of 2025, I personally believe we have every single piece of technology to actually make this a reality. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, first, imagine looking up at the sky and seeing a god descend, radiant, speaking your language, promising peace, power, or punishment. And imagine that God isn't real, not divine, not alien, just code, lasers, frequency, projected, and you believe. That's Project Bluebeam. Let's begin. So, the origins of Project Bluebeam. It was created by Serge Monast, a French-Canadian journalist. He published his theory in 1994. Hey, that's the year I was born. And the lore deepens. He claimed he received leaked documents from insiders, and he died suddenly of a heart attack in 1996, shortly after warning that he was being surveilled. He told his family that if anything happened to him, he didn't do it. It was not a natural. He said if anything happened to him, it would be unnatural. Essentially, that's what he was getting at. Okay? And what makes it even more strange? No autopsy was performed. He said they would fake the return of Christ to unite all religions under a new world order, not with miracles, but with satellites and holograms. And we're actually going to get deeper into those hologram things later on. I've actually found a really interesting article about that I'm going to share with you all. So, Monast said there were 4 phases of Project Bluebeam. Phase 1, deconstruction of all known archaeological beliefs, fake discoveries to shake religious foundations. We have been finding quite a few archaeological discoveries lately, haven't we? And some of them have been quite, let's say, divisive. So there's already signs of this happening. In my personal opinion, I feel like there's already signs of this happening in the world today as I record this. Now, phase 2 was a massive space show, including 3D holograms in the sky tailored to each region's dominant religion. So in the West, they might show God or Jesus. In the East, they might show Buddha or Gandhi. Not Gandhi, Buddha. Yes, I realize Gandhi was not a god. I apologize for that. I meant Buddha. I spoke a little too quickly. Gandhi was a great man, though not a religious deity or figure. A little mix up on my part there, and I apologize for that. That was very unprofessional. But that makes it more fun, right? But the point is, each region would have their dominant religion's god presented in the sky through holograms. And their god would deliver a message telling them that their religion was not the true religion, but it would be coming from their god, so they would be more likely to believe it. And then all these holograms of all these different gods would change their shape and their form and meld into one ultimate universal God entity, creating a universal religion. And once they have the universal religion, that is going to make it much easier for a universal government, because the government can hide behind the religion and operate with full power and full control. Speaking of control, Phase 3 involves telepathic mind control using low-frequency ELF waves to simulate divine voices in your head. And I didn't have this pulled up, so I highly encourage you to look this up on your own. But I have heard that Apple, with their AirPods, I've heard that they have designed AirPods that can read your mind. So if you'll bear with me, I will actually look that up right now on screen. Okay, here's what it says. Here's the information. Let me actually pull this up for you guys so we can look at it together. So I did look it up for us. So let me pull this up. Here it is. All right, so this says, no, AirPods cannot read your mind in the way that science fiction portrays. While Apple has filed a patent for AirPods that incorporate brainwave sensing technology, that's the part that we're talking about right there, brainwave sensing technology. This technology is currently in the developmental stages and not yet available to consumers. Not yet available to consumers. Note there, it doesn't say not yet available, period. It says not yet available to consumers. So that doesn't mean that Apple isn't using it. That means the customer can't have access to it. That is a very lawyer-like loophole that they're trying to use with some confusing language there. So here's a more detailed explanation. Apple has indeed patented a design for AirPods that include electronics capable of detecting brain activity through EEG, electroencephalography. Hey, I'm trying. I try to pronounce these words. I don't give up. I at least try. EEG for short. Like you've heard about that. I'm sure. Like heart rate monitors and stuff like that. So if you have like an Apple Watch or something, they can, read your heart rate and all that. I think that's because they have the EEG in them. While the patent suggests the possibility of using AirPods to monitor brain activity, it doesn't mean they can currently read your thoughts or intentions. But that is their future plan, which is still kind of scary. Even if it is a future plan and not available right now, you still got to wonder what they're trying to use that data for. Potential applications. The technology could potentially be used for things like detecting focus levels, measuring sleep quality, or even aiding in communication for people with disabilities. Now, there are ethical considerations. The development of brain reading technology raises significant ethical concerns, particularly regarding data privacy and the potential for misuse of sensitive information. It is not a present reality, according to the AI overview on Google. The idea of AirPods reading your mind is more of a concept for the future than a current function. If I click this link right here, they got their information from a website called Medium and a website called Flound, if you would like to look this up on your own. So let's go ahead and stop sharing that. So now getting back into the rest of it. So the telepathic mind control definitely sounds like a possibility. And then stage 4, and this is the most interesting one of all. A staged alien invasion or rapture-like disappearance event triggering martial law and global obedience. Now that is interesting to me because for you remember the government, the same ones that have been denying alien life and alien existence ever since the 50s, right? They've been denying aliens since like the 50s or the 60s. Okay? After all this time, they've been denying it for so long, went on all these public disinformation campaigns and all this other stuff, trying to deceive the American people and make everyone who believed in UFOs look crazy. And if you believed in aliens, they would like ruin your career or make you look crazy to the public and nobody would believe you. They would gaslight you. And all sorts of crazy stuff was going on. And they were trying so hard to deny the existence of aliens. And then now all of a sudden, now they want to tell us aliens are real and they don't know what the UFOs are. Something seems shady about that. The government telling the truth? What's going on? I'm really confused. So I was thinking about it and I'm like, why would they change their stance on this? And I couldn't figure it out. And then I found Project Bluebeam. And stage 4 is a staged alien invasion. And, well, how would you stage an alien invasion if nobody believed in aliens? So they had to flip flop on their stance because the fact that they flip flopped after hiding it for so many years will make the whole public, well, maybe not everybody, but I feel like a large portion of the public is paying attention to this, specifically because they've been lying about it for so long that it's an even bigger deal than it would have been if they had just told the truth from the beginning. And now that everyone, is being convinced that aliens are real and UFOs are real, and now that they're trying to convince everyone that they're real, maybe the reason they're trying to convince everyone that UFOs are real and they're admitting that aliens are real and all this stuff, maybe the reason they changed their mind is because they're getting ready for the early preparation stages of Project Bluebeam. They need to recondition general society to believe in aliens and UFOs so that Project Bluebeam will be more effective when they finally decide to enact it. And as for the tech, and is the tech even real? Well, holograms. Remember earlier when I said that I'd get deeper into the holograms? Japan and China have already projected large 3D objects into the sky, but that's not it. That's not all. Let's see what I found. So I found this article over here talking about how you can now touch and feel holograms like they're real. Huh. So does that mean this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figure could be a hologram, but I can touch it as if it were real? That might change your entire perception of what is and is not reality. In a first world, in a world first, Japanese engineers created a new 3D hologram that you can actually feel with your hands. Let's
Engineers built a hologram you can touch. What if you could touch a hologram? Grab it, move it, manipulate it, just like Iron Man does. Thanks to a mind blowing breakthrough in mixed reality, researchers have created holograms you can physically interact with. That too, without a VR headset. In a recent study released, scientists revealed a flexible material that replaces the rigid core of traditional volumetric displays. That means no more risk of breaking the system or your hand when you reach out to touch a hologram. You can now grab a floating cube, poke a 3D object, and the system autocorrects the image in real time. Interesting, right? The tech's still experimental, but it's opening doors to hands on education, interactive museum exhibits, and collaborative 3D workspaces, all without strapping on a headset. Professor Ajar Marzo, one of the lead scientists, says this could revolutionize how we interact with digital content, making 3D touch as intuitive as tapping your phone screen. So the future is literally at your fingertips. The research will debut at the CHI conference in Japan, April 26th to May 1st this April. Potential uses from hands on learning and engineering demos to interactive museum exhibits. No head.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. And as you are all probably well aware by now, I'm a big fan of simulation theory. And is it just me, or does that seem to support my theories? But, anyways, this isn't about that. This is about Project Bluebeam. So, imagine reaching out and grabbing a floating hologram, just like Iron Man in the movie. Thanks to a major breakthrough in mixed reality tech, that sci fi dream is becoming a reality faster than anyone expected. The leap from watching to touching. Researchers have developed a way to physically interact with 3D holograms, not just look at them. In a new study uploaded to the HAL Open Archive on March 6, scientists shared how they use soft, flexible materials to create volumetric displays, allowing users to poke, grab, and move holographic objects in midair. This isn't just about flashy visuals, it's a whole new way of interacting with digital content without damaging the holographic system or needing VR headsets. So I think this is just all the information that was in that video, so we're going to go ahead and close the rest of that out. But that's pretty interesting. I think that's very impressive and is going to lead to a lot of breakthroughs in science very soon. So the next thing is this voice to skull technology. That sounds crazy, right? No way we have technology to, insert thoughts or voices into people's heads, except US military patents do exist for this technology. Weather manipulation? Oh, yeah. Well, HARP and cloud seeding aren't fiction anymore. I'm thinking if you're watching our channel, you probably know all about those. So we don't have to go into details on that. And then satellite frequency mapping. Starlink, Skynet, and military satellite clusters are growing fast, and that would, in theory, give them the ability to coordinate the drones and the LEDs to, make those holograms in the sky like that. I mean, if I'm sure you've seen those drone shows they have on YouTube. They got these crazy drone shows on YouTube where the drones can make different shapes and they can change it really fast, and it looks so realistic, like it's crazy. So I believe that's possible too. We're not talking sci-fi here. This tech is real. The only question is how it's used. Now, as for evidence and leak patterns, there is a whistleblower's claim that the voice of God weapons were tested in the Gulf War. The CIA documents released via FOIA mention psychoacoustic manipulation. I'm sure you all have heard about the brown note. And, frequencies, believe it or not, and whether they, like binaural audio and stuff like that, frequencies do have an effect on our bodies because our bodies are, what is it, like 80% water? Here, I'll look it up real quick while we're here. Body water ratio. There you go. So, okay, not 80%, but it says that we have about 55 to 60% of the human body is composed of water. All right? And that water inside of our body, it sloshes around when we move, and frequencies produce vibrations, which affect the water within our body, which being over half of our body, being water, well, it affects us. Like, that's a scientific explanation for how frequency actually affects the human body, because the sound waves of the different frequencies affect the water within our body, which affects our biology and our anatomy and everything else. Well, maybe not our anatomy, but it affects like our internal, biological system. And a NASA engineer responded to a Bluebeam question at a public Q&A, and then the footage just disappeared. Hundreds of online videos have been removed citing disinformation, yet none of these contain violent content. Ask yourself, if it's just a fantasy, why does it keep vanishing? Now, is this entertainment or test runs? Independence Day in 1996, Contact, Arrival, Man of Steel, and Nope all show global sky events. We're not even going to talk about Nope. We're not talking about that movie. Super Bowl 2020, drones formed symbols over the stadium. In Russia 2023, dozens of people reported seeing Jesus in the sky during a strange light display. And the TikTok algorithm often suppressing posts about blue beam or false messiah, but not other conspiracies. Are we being conditioned to accept sky events as normal? The synthetic second coming. Why fake religion? Because belief is more powerful than bullets. A Messiah event could bypass political resistance and trigger total psychological surrender. Because when someone is highly religious, not trying to be offensive, but when someone is highly religious, sometimes that can override other aspects of their brain, and they are more willing to believe in certain things that they normally wouldn't believe in if it relates to their personal belief system. That's not just religious people, that's like anyone who holds a very strong belief in anything at all, like me and my belief in simulation theory. I am programmed by my beliefs to lean more towards one side than the other. And, I'm not denying that. It's part of being human, it's part of who we are and how we operate, how we are programmed. It's just part of what it is this, to be part of this existence. And Bluebeam doesn't require everyone to believe in it, only enough people to justify a reset. So if I don't know, 70-80% of people believe in it, that's good enough for them. The other 20 to 30% they can just get rid of, put them in concentration camps or whatever they got to do. And I'm probably not going to get too deep into that, for reasons, but that is actually part of the conspiracy theory about Project Bluebeam, is they actually believe that if most people believe in it, then they can justify locking up the few people who don't believe in what are essentially re-education camps and locking them in prisons and stuff like that. But we don't want to talk too much about that. So we're just going to mention it and then move on. So, what if one disappearance event caused all governments to say, "This is the rapture, submit or perish"? Imagine they take your neighbor, your spouse, your child, and tell you it's divine judgment. Would you question it or obey? Sounds kind of similar to some stuff going on right now, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, the closing reflection. Do you think you would be able to resist? Project Bluebeam isn't just a conspiracy, it's a question. What do you believe, and how deeply can that belief be hacked? We may not know if Bluebeam is real, but we do know that belief can be engineered. And when the sky starts talking, will you listen? Because if you really think about it, it's easy enough to create your own religion. I'm not going to give you the details, but I have actually created my very own. And I'm just going to leave it at that as a point that anyone can create a religion. All it takes is a bit of creativity, a few believers, and a set of rules. And that's all you need. And some religions can be great, but some can be absolutely awful. So just whatever you believe, hold true to your belief and trust that you're doing the right thing. So I'll leave you some questions at the end of this video tonight. I will leave you with some questions to ponder. Go ahead and comment them down below. Email them to us at thisuncanniearth@gmail.com or go to ltatm.net. And we even have a blog now. Yep. Come check out our blog at ltatm.net. And you can even tell us all about your thoughts on these questions. So, have you ever had a dream, vision, or glitch where the sky just felt kind of, I don't know, off? Do you think a global unifying event could happen in your lifetime? And if the second coming were projected by satellites, how would you know? Comment, email, or let us know on the blog what you think about this. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you for coming to hang out with us, and we will see you next time here on This Uncanny Think Tank. Thank you, and have a good day.